Hey guys, this is Greg Tony. I am your instructor for public speaking online here this semester here at Tri-County Technical College. I have been teaching public speaking for right about 23 years, so I hope to be able to make this a positive experience for you as we go through the semester. Wanted to take a quick moment just to welcome you to the class, to touch on a couple of quick announcements, maybe a bit of a tour around Blackboard so you know where to find certain things. And then I want to spend a few minutes going over the first speech assignment that we have coming up in a couple of weeks. So you've probably already been getting a few announcements from me, things about attendance, things about your weekly reading quiz being due, which your first one is due this coming Saturday night by 11 o'clock. You've also gotten information about the attendance verification assignment. The attendance verification assignment does two things. One, it verifies your attendance in the class so I can mark you present for the first week, but it also walks you through the process of how to effectively record and upload a speech video that you'll need to know how to do as we move forward with our graded speeches. So it's critically important that you walk yourself through the attendance verification process so that you make sure you know how to follow that process. And then, of course, you've probably also gotten an announcement that that the first speech assignment is due to be reviewed. And so we'll do that here in just a second. And that way you can start thinking about it a little bit moving forward. So let me share the screen here and go to the class shell. Okay, so what we're looking at here in terms of the page you enter on, it's always going to be on the announcements page. I will use announcements extensively. So you need to get into a habit of checking the announcements on a regular basis, checking your email, because I send out a lot of information about updates, due dates, and things like that. Of course, you need to make sure, if you haven't done so already, that you go through the getting started process. Again, a welcome, the course calendar. I would print that out and put all the important due dates in your personal calendar now. You've got the due date for everything starting today. The course syllabus, that has all the information about deadline policies, attendance policies, the grading system, and all of that is in the course syllabus. There's all of my contact information under About the Instructor and a little bit about me, as well as how we'll communicate. And I've got office hours, both virtual and in office, where you can come see me if you need to. And then there's a link to the attendance verification activity. So going back over here to the main course menu, there's also another link, same link to the attendance verification activity. And then we go back to announcements, which is the main page. Now moving down, I don't know that anybody will really need to use Collaborate, but in case we need to have a meeting or something, we can use it. I put it there. But the majority of course information that you will need is to be found under course content and materials. So the first thing you see when we go into course content and materials is a link to the ebook, so you can access all of your reading assignments. And then below that, the video lecture hall. I will put up lecture videos probably a couple of weeks. So you'll need to get used to taking a little bit of time every week to watch the lecture videos on whatever the subject is that we're discussing. All of the assignments for all of the speeches are here. We're going to come back to that here in just a minute. Here are some direct links to the video uploads for all the individual speeches. Here's a link to some sample introductory, informative, and persuasive speeches. Self-analysis questionnaires, you'll complete those after you do each of your individual speeches. The weekly reading quizzes. Okay, so you know you already have one due this Saturday night. All 10 weekly reading quizzes are open and available now. You can work ahead as fast as you can, as much as you want. However, they will expire every week. So you have a weekly reading quiz due by Saturday night every week by 11 o'clock. So once it expires, it cannot be reset. We'll go back. The midterm and final exam, when those become available, you'll be able to access those. You'll get an announcement when those are due. And then here's a link to the discussion board, the threaded discussion board, and an email link as well. So let's go into assignments here. And you see there's the introductory, the informative. I'll explain all that junk under the informative when we get there. The persuasive speech and the critical analysis paper. So let's click on the introductory speech assignment. And as you see, there are several files. There is the sample outline, some basic tips and guidelines that you just need to make sure you review because they just make the process a little bit easier for you, but this is not the assignment description. Here is an outline worksheet to help you put your speech together. We'll look at that in just a second. Here is a little file on vertical video syndrome. And you probably, if you've done the attendance verification assignment, you've already gone through this, but that's basically saying that if you're recording your speech on your phone, that's vertical video, that's up and down. We want it recorded horizontally so it gives me a good field of view when you record it. And then here is the introductory speech assignment description. That's what we want to take a look at now. So we'll open this file up, and I think I need to stop sharing that page and share a different screen. All right, yep. So we are at the assignment description. Let's make it nice and big. Okay, so let's run through this here. Introductory speech assignment worth 50 points. Okay, so the purpose of this assignment is to provide personal data that can be used to analyze the audience as a whole for later assignments. They also help to develop some initial skills in the analysis, selection, and organization of speech materials, and develop some initial skills in gaining and holding an audience's attention. All right, so the time requirement for this speech is 4 to 6 minutes. That's your time limit. That's what you're shooting for. I do give a 10-second grace period on either side of that to make time, but I do want to make sure that you understand that not making time, going short or going long, does cost 1 letter grade on any speech. So it does carry a pretty heavy penalty in terms of making time. Now, for the summer 2021, the audience requirement is waived. This applies to summer 2021 only. In the fall, we will be moving back to a normal audience requirement, but just understand this summer, you do not have to gather an audience. But that said, even though you don't have an actual audience, you need to treat your delivery as though you do. And what I mean by that is we do things like stand up, we speak out loud, we use movement, gestures. If we have visuals, we make them big enough for everybody to see. We do not deliver our speeches sitting down. We don't lay on the bed or sit on the floor. We stand up and everything as though we actually do have an audience. Now, description: prepare and present a 4 to 6 minute speech, choosing one of the options below or one you come up with on your own. You might just want to ask me and say, hey, does this work? Try to select a style and subject that will be easy for you to develop and for us to follow. Your speech should be organized around a simple and a logical format. By all means, please watch the sample introductory speeches to get an idea of how these are organized and the approach that they take. The samples are one of the best things you can do to kind of get a clear picture on how to put one of these together. Now, topic selection. Here are some suggested options on ways you can approach this. Each of the following options provides a creative guide to learning about you, the speaker. Hopes and dreams, where I've traveled, what's my career goal, my hobby, talents and gifts, likes and dislikes, strengths and weaknesses, most influential life experience. Now, no matter what approach you take, you are the topic. You are the central focus of this speech. So if you're doing your speech about your hobby and relating it to you, don't just do a speech about the hobby itself. Tell us what you've learned from it, how it's shaped you, how it's made you the person you are today, how it's influenced you, and so on. So in the end, you're the topic of the speech, no matter what approach you take. You're the central focus. But as you do that, provide detail, create images, captivate our attention. Now, support material. Use your own knowledge of the topic first, then if necessary, find outside published material to back up your points. However, you are not required to use outside support. There is not a citation requirement with the introductory speech. There will be for the informative and persuasive speeches, But this is the one that, yes, you can do all off the top of your head. Now, I would say if you're doing a speech about a personal hero and you want to use quotes from your personal hero, you will have to turn to outside sources to find and cite those within your speech. Organization and written work, you'll structure your ideas, draft an outline. The outline must conform to the format given to you by me. That's what the outline worksheet is for. I'll show you that in just a second. But you must, it must be obviously typed, and you'll submit it to Blackboard when you also submit your speech video. You'll submit those as well. Now, delivery. This is pretty important because some of this kind of gets lost in the online environment. Speeches must be delivered, first of all, using handheld note cards or a paper outline. For this speech, I allow 3 note cards, front and back, or a 1-page outline, front and back, to deliver from. They must be handheld while you stand and deliver the speech. I do not want speeches read from the computer screen like a teleprompter, or holding a telephone or a tablet reading off of that. None of that. You must use paper notes to deliver your speech. I've even had people that have had people hold poster boards up off to the side of the camera like TV cue cards. We do not want that. You need to use an outline or note cards to deliver your speech. And remember, deliver your speech as though you have an audience. You must be standing. We stand up to deliver formal speeches. Keep your delivery style very conversational. Just relax and talk to us. The big word for that is extemporaneous. So we want to be dynamic. We want to be expressive. We want to use eye contact, utilize movement, gestures, and deliver it effectively. Practice and rehearsal will be the #1 thing that you do that will help you be successful in delivering a good speech. Okay, so recording your speech, also, important for the online environment. Excuse me. Be aware of your surroundings, of course, when you record your speech. Be aware of background noise like TVs. Turn TVs off. Don't have music playing in the background. If somebody's cutting grass outside, don't stand on your porch. Be aware of babies crying. Even something as simple as the battery in your smoke detector needing to be changed because it goes beep every 30 seconds. That could be a distraction to your audience and to me. So be aware of your background. Be aware of your camera shot. Make sure the lighting is good so that I can actually see you. Don't stand in front of a bright window because everything else is dark and I can't see you or anything else. Make sure the camera shot is effective. And what I want from a good camera shot is at least waist up. But a full body shot that's fine too. But once you start the speech, don't move the camera. I don't need you panning in, zooming back and forth, looking around. Set the camera still when you start the speech, when you record it. Don't move it after you start. And of course, be aware of the vertical video. I want a horizontal widescreen view so I can see everything around you. That'll be especially important when you start using visual support rather than the up and down vertical video. Now, as far as submitting your speech for grading, we all obviously only take it digitally now. There is a link under the assignment section, and there's a separate link that is video upload links. Basically, once you've recorded your speech, you will upload it to the publisher Launchpad using those upload links. You can either upload it directly from your computer, or you can actually upload it to YouTube and submit it using a link from the YouTube URL. Either one of those work. Make sure that once you submit it, that you watch it to make sure it plays. Matter of fact, watch it to make sure it plays before you submit it. Make sure you know what it looks like and sounds like. I'll get speech submissions that'll be cut off at the end, and I don't get the conclusion. And, well, I can't grade what I can't see and hear. So make sure that you review it before you submit it. You cannot email me your video. They're too big. The only way we accept those is through the Launchpad upload link. Okay, so evaluation, there is a sample evaluation rubric in the syllabus if you want to take a look at it. However, when I grade it, I will actually use the electronic rubric that is in Launchpad. So actually, once you submit your speech and I provide my feedback, you can go back to your submission and review my comments. Now, The online rubric is based off of 100 points, but this speech is only worth 50 points. So what I'll do is once I use that rubric to grade it, I'll multiply that grade by 0.5, and that's what I'll actually put into the grade book for you in Blackboard. All righty, so let's stop sharing that and let's go into the outline worksheet real quick and explain some of these parts and pieces. So we'll open this up. Close that one. Share screen again. Lots of buttons to click. Sorry, guys. So we'll make this nice and big. Okay, so first and foremost, this is a worksheet for you to use. It is designed to make writing your speech like fill in the blank. And for the introductory speech, I have tried to make it as streamlined and as simple as possible. When we get to the next speech, we'll start to add some more detail here. But when you start your recording, you obviously need to tell me your name, the date, and the type of speech. However, I don't start the timer at that point. Your speech time will begin right here with what we call the attention getter. Okay, so what is the attention getter? Well, this is something you're going to say that's going to make us want to listen to your speech. This attention getter is important because right here is where your audience decides whether to listen to you or not. So this is pretty important. Your speech should not start with the word today. I don't want to hear speeches starting with today I'm going to talk about. That doesn't excite anybody. A good attention getter might be a story or an illustration, a startling fact or statistic. Maybe it's a quote from your personal hero. So anything like that that's going to reach out there and grab us and make us want to really listen. Make it interesting and unique. Make us want to listen. Okay, now put a lot of thought into that attention getter. Now, the next two pieces, the central idea and the preview of main points. This is where you're going to tell your audience what you're going to tell them. This is kind of the preview statement. So the central idea is just like the thesis sentence in a paper. It's a one-sentence summary of what the speech is about. So it's a complete sentence. It's a declarative statement like, my life is one that's been influenced by many people. And then that gives the audience a sense of what in general you're going to talk about. Now, once you state the central idea, you're going to give us a very specific stating of the main points that you're going to talk about in the body of the speech. So you're going to basically list the main points you're going to talk about. So you may say, my life is one that's been influenced by many people. Today, I want to tell you how my mother, my brother, and my father have influenced me and made me the person I am today. I should be able to pick your main points out of this preview statement where you tell us what you're going to tell us. Throughout the speech, you see transitional phrases. These just indicate that you've finished one idea and you've moved on to the next one. I've even written some simple enumeration type of transitions for you. The first thing, the second thing, the next, the last. You can use that, or you can make them as eloquent as you want. That's fine as long as you indicate change in thought and idea. Now, in the body of the speech where you're ready to tell us what you're going to tell us, I got places for 3 main points. You'll probably have subpoints in your outline. That's fine. That's great. I expect you to. But just because I have places for 3 main points does not mean you've got to have 3 main points. You might have 2. You might end up with 4. This is just a worksheet. Use what you need, add to it, take away. Don't get hung up on 3 because I have 3. It's just balanced and it fit the form well. Okay. Now, as you get to the conclusion, we now have to tell them what we told them. So we have a summary or a review where we're going to repeat the central idea and we're going to specifically repeat the main points that we just talked about. So you can see my life was one that was influenced by many people. I've told you today how my mother, my brother, my father influenced me and made me the person I am today. And then we're ready to move into the final statement. So the final statement is to your conclusion what the attention getter is to your introduction. You need to put as much thought into that as you did how you were going to start the speech. So again, you want to leave us with something we'll remember. Maybe you go back to something that you said in the introduction, like finish a story, answer a question. You give us another quote from your personal hero, for example. So you want to leave us with something that we'll remember from the speech, but speeches also have to sound finished. So another purpose of this final statement is so that when you say your last word, we know it's your last word. Even if you want to end with a very polite thank you, that might be effective as a good indicator that the speech is complete. All righty, so that is the outline worksheet there. I think it's quit sharing. Yeah, okay. Just a quick review here. Make sure that we do the attendance verification assignment, that you complete your first weekly reading quiz and work ahead if you want to. Make sure you've reviewed the sample speeches and the introductory speech assignment if you need to go through that again. Ask questions, email me, post up on the discussion board, and we'll respond to all of those. Check your course calendar to see when the due date for your specific section is for this speech. Now, it's in a couple of weeks, but you need to make sure that you've got the due date written down so that you get it submitted prior to that due date so that it won't be late, it'll be taken, and it'll be graded. I hope you guys have a great semester. Look for me online. I'll be coming back to you again with some details of other assignments and other lecture videos. If you have questions, let me know. You guys have a great weekend.